we're just going to start with the heart of algebra fundamentals and the order of operations. So the order of operations, let's see what we are just going to focus. I think we are already quite familiar and introduced with this thing, the order of operations, the PEMDAS rule. The PEMDAS rule, this is basically just saying which operation you just need to do in the exact correct order. Should you do the multiplication right before the division, or should you do the subtraction before you are doing the addition in any kind of mathematical expression? What is a mathematical expression? Just focus on this. Just focus on this. This is a mathematical expression, and how do we calculate this? How do we calculate this? To calculate this, definitely we just need to know about the operation. We just need to know about the addition. We need to know about the exponent. We also need to have the knowledge of multiplication of division. Maybe for this exact mathematical expression, we don't need to know about the division, but we need to know about all the mathematical operation, and we just need to also know the order of the operation that we want to carry on. We also need to know which thing should we do first. Do we need to do the subtraction first, or do we need to do the addition first? So this is basically, this rule is telling us what should we do and what should we start with. Okay, we can we're just making an acronym. We are just making an acronym. PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I don't think I just need to remember. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. We can definitely remember it. PEMDAS. Okay. So, what P stands for? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So please, if you're listening, then please. A response, a small response, a kind response would be great, would be helpful for me. Okay, so parenthesis. This is basically a parenthesis. This is called the curly braces, and we have the square brackets. We need to focus on the parenthesis and other grouping symbols. This is called a grouping symbol. Okay, and like root, this is a squared root. Okay, and then we need to focus on the exponent. First, we need to focus on parentheses, then we need to focus on exponent, and then we need to focus on multiplication, and then we need to focus on division, and then we need to focus on addition, and then we need to subtraction. I hope you already know this, so
Yeah.
I really don't want to talk much about it. You just need to do some examples and some practice. I will tell that later, but how do you do this? Basically, how do you do this? The very first thing that you need to do, that is you can divide it, the 64 by 9. You can divide it 64 by 9, or you can just write it in this way, that you can just simply distribute the squared root in the numerator and the denominator section. You can write it like this, or you can just divide it, because dividing 64 by 9 is not an easy task, and basically it will be in the fractional form, in the decimal number form. So that's why we are not just interested to writing in this way. We are just more interested, we are just focusing to make it more efficient or simple, and that's why we are just dividing the square root in both in the numerator section and in the denominator section. Okay, you can, there are some rules which discuss about when you can just the distribution property of square roots or something like this. Basically, where can you just write it in this way, or where can you just write it in this way? There are some rules you will automatically know after you are just solving some problems, and you can just go through these examples. I don't think these would take any second longer than you. Longer than it necessary. Okay, so the FOIL, what is basically the foiling is? FOIL is telling us that is basically we are just interested to simplify the polynomials. What is the meaning of simplifying polynomials? Simplifying polynomials is nothing but basically you can see that we are just writing this a plus b closed in the parenthesis, and then C plus D. So
Yeah.
simplifying polynomials doesn't mean other than writing this as AC plus AD plus BC plus BD. Okay, this is,
Oh,
I think you already know this.
yeah.
So you already know this. I am not going to talk about much about this. But please don't forget about the order. You can, whatever you do, you personally, I just multiply 2 by 3, and then I multiply x with 3, and then I go for 2 multiplied by y, and then x multiplied by y. Other people do it in other different ways, but whatever you do, please don't forget about the order. Okay, uh, they're
Mhm.
just they're just teaching you in a particular order, but whatever you do, you can do it in your own way. But please don't make mistakes. There are some examples. Um, there are some practice problems, and we have some solutions. And each problem we have the solution here. In this book, the following that we are following, we have every single solution. We have every single solution for every single problem. We have every single solution. There are no problems given unsolving it. Okay, and that's why it is a very helpful book. That's why it's a very, very, very helpful book. Okay, so the least common multiple and the greatest common factor, we call this as the LCM and the GCF. Okay, so I think you already know what is basically the least common multiple of 6 and 8. What is basically the LCM? The LCM is basically, it is just a number. It is just a number. Definitely the multiple. It's a number. The LCM is a number,
Yeah.
and which means you just you just actually such a number which has the least value, and which is sharing for the both numbers. For an example, 6 and 8. What is the LCM for the 6 and 8?
The
What is the
lowest
LCM for
number.
the lowest one? Because we just need to find out such a number which is gonna be the multiple for 6 individually and 8 too, and it need to be the least number, the smallest one, and um that's it. I think you know it, and people do it in a different way. They write it in this way, or they can just do it in roughly in. There are some other techniques. I think we already know what the
GCF.
GCF or 8 and 12. Um, you can do it. Do I need to go through on this?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Actually, they are just writing it in very descriptive way, but I don't think
Yeah.
we just really need to do in such a descriptive way, because making it more descriptive will making it more complicated, and not
Yeah.
all the time explanations are too much useful, or they are not all the time too much beneficial. Some things are really needed to be make it as short as possible, as much as we need. Okay, solving fractions. Okay, um, solving fractions. Solving fraction. This is basically a rational fraction. A rational number. Uh, do you have any idea what is the rational number?
You know,
Okay. Okay. What is a rational number? What is a rational number? A rational number is something in the simplest way. If I'm just talking about what is a rational number, the rational number is 5 by 7. 5 by 7. This is basically a rational number because we cannot we cannot divide it or we cannot
oh,
just make it smaller. this is the
oh yeah.
this is the smallest, or this is the most fundamental. This is in its more it's it this is in its more intrinsic fundamental form. I cannot go down this. I cannot. This is the deepest one. I cannot go further down there because 5 divided by 7 we cannot write it in different way. I can multiply it. That I can multiply the numerator and the denominator by 2. I can write it as 10 divided by 14, but the 10 divided by 14 can also be written in 5 by 7, and 5 by 7 is a rational number because I really cannot make it um, I really cannot
And
make it more fundamental. And
yeah.
most importantly, you can write it with such a number. Actually, I just forgot the exact name, but basically we really don't. Do you know pi 3.1416 dot 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 dot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you divide 5 divided by 7, if you divide 5 divided by 7, will that be a rational number? So if that necessary to be a rational number, then it cannot be just like the format of pi. That cannot be the format of pi because pi is going and going. It is going and going, endless. Uh, but this cannot be. For it to be a rational number, the decimal number right after the decimal cannot go forever and forever.
Okay.
Okay, this is the simplest way, but it has a very constrained and it has a very mathematical definition. But I'm not focusing on that. I'm just trying to make you understand as much intuitively as it is possible. That's it. So solving fractions doesn't really necessarily mean more than just by writing this in this way, decimal number, and just by adding them, dividing them, multiplying them, and adding them. This is it. So the upper term is called the numerator and the lower term is called the denominator. And
Yeah.
we all know that. And we
Yeah.
all also know how to add. This is basically a baby mathematics. Okay.
Yeah.
Funny. I don't think we just really need to go through this.
Okay. Yeah.
But this problem is a good problem. The time it takes Henry to mop a certain floor is 10 minutes, and the time it takes Tanner to mop the same floor is 8 minutes. What is the time it takes to mop the floor? If both of them work together the full amount of time to do so, use the combined work formula below to solve. Okay, the most important thing that you really need to focus, that is, as much as you can practice, you will become more efficient and you will know how to solve a problem, because there are so many things you just need to practice and you just need to master it in this way. There's no other way to there's no other way, because there are so many things you need to just practice it again and again so that you can be a good performer. For an example, music, playing guitars. The best thing to be a good guitarist is practicing it again and again. And if you're just gonna practice it, your once upon a time your brain will automatically, intrinsically, it will absorb the most fundamentals and the main. You will just discover the way of problem solving in an innovative way. We all have our innovative way of problem solving, and as much as we can put the time, then we can make it the art of problem solving, making it more innovative. Okay, so combined work formula is given by this. So this is basically the problem that we are just talking about. They're just given the statement, and they have just also given the combined work formula.
Okay.
And they have also explained the what symbol is standing for, the meaning of the symbol, time for A to complete the work and time for B to complete the work. So we have two people, we have two different persons. We have Henry and we have Tanner, and we have Henry and we have Tanner, and Henry take 10 minutes and Tanner take 8 minutes. So if we are applying the combined work formula, for the scenario of Henry and Tanner, then definitely we can find out what the thing is telling. what we need to do this is basically we just need to this is, do you know what this is called? This is called the subscript. Okay, you can see a small a, right? A small a. Hello.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you right now.
Okay.
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, can you see a small a and a small b right after t, right
Yeah.
down below? This is
Yeah.
called subscript. There is subscript and there is superscript. Subscript, this is, we read it like T subscript A or T sub A. We read
Yeah.
it in T subscript A or T sub A, T sub B, and T sub C. And we just need to manipulate. We just need to substitute the scenario for Henry and Tanner with maybe A or maybe B, whatever you just wanted. If you just want to denote Henry for A and if you just want to denote Tanner with B, then you can do it definitely. Or you can just write a T subscript H or T subscript T, but maybe they are not going to approve it because they have already given the formula that they are wanting us to use. So that's why we don't need to use write T subscript H or T subscript T, rather than use the T subscript A and T subscript B and put the number, and they are just written T 1 by 8 plus 1 by 10 equals to 1 by TC, and just inverts it, or just then whatever that is it, 40 divided by 9, 40 by 9 minutes, or 4.44 minutes. And
Okay.
this is basically I think this is the hardest part of the SAT exam, that is you just need to know how to write the fractions in a decimal way. Okay,
Yeah.
you just need to know about this. So
Okay.
they're just basically giving some examples, but actually they are not just telling us everything about the quite exact mathematics. Maybe you just need to focus a particular book on mathematics if you really want to know what is a rational number or what is an irrational number. But
Yeah.
this is a book for SAT. So this is not a book for mathematics. So definitely you won't get the all answer for every single mathematical explanation that is necessary, or you could have expected. So this is it. You just need to multiply it. How to multiply it, you already know. I don't think we just need to discover this in a
Yeah.
new way.